Okay, first, some of you guys are opening up the document and then you're sitting here, oh, it's too small. Oh, it's too blurry. Oh, I can't see. Huh. The zoom tool here, you click it, you go to 100%, and now it's normal size and you can work with it. Hopefully that step allows you to get started. So we're going to go and graph this first one together. First of all, vertex. We determine the vertex from the equation itself, since this is vertex form. We talked about this yesterday. You get your vertex, your x-coordinate is the opposite of what's inside the parentheses, so in this case it's 3. Your y-coordinate is what's outside the parentheses, so in this case it's -4. So a couple different ways we could do it, but you know what? I'm going to do a text box. Insert a text box here. I'm going to go ahead and change it to 12-point font. Then I'm just going to go ahead and type in 3, comma, -4, and done and over with. I'm going to drag the text box around a little bit so it looks like it is the exact answer there. Now I look at my axis of symmetry, and again, your axis of symmetry is the same as the x-coordinate of your vertex. Since the x-coordinate of your vertex is 3, your axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Now I could have also created a text box there. I chose not to, which is fine. But either way, a couple different ways you can do it. Lastly, whether it opens up or down, we know it opens up because our number, our A in front of the parentheses, is a positive number. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that with the highlight color key over here and do that green. Okay. Now I want you to be able to graph it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the Shapes tool. We're going to choose a circle. We're going to make a small circle right here. I'm going to fill that small circle with our fill tool right here. And let's go with blue. Now, I'm going to do a bunch of points. I'm going to do my vertex and then 4 more points. So I want 5 total points. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit Control Duplicate, 2, 3, and create my 5 points like that. So now I have them, so I'm ready to use them. Since I know my vertex is at 3, -4, I'm just going to come over here, take it 3, then -4. I'm going to kind of center my positive sign there, and there we go, at 3, -4. Now, come over here and just insert some. So how I decide which points I want to use, I go left and right. So I want 2, since that's 1 over, I want 4. So I'm going to use 2, I'm going to use 4, and then if I go 1 more over, I have 1 and 5. So 1 and 5. Now, just plug in and solve. Put my 2 in, 2 minus 3 is -1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2 minus 4 is -2. 4 minus 3 is 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2 minus 4 is again -2. Kind of knew that, but I'm doing it anyway. 1 minus 3 is -2. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 4 is +4. And then 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 4 is 4. So now I've created some points I put in my table. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to -2. So to -2. I'm going to come over here. I have 4, -2, which is right here. And again, my points are a little off. I'm not too worried about that. 1, 4. So I'm going to come up here. My hand slips. I'm going to try to get a little bit more accurate there. And then my last point here, 5, 4, and we're going to go right there. And you can see it kind of lines up with where you want it. So there is your graph. Now some of you guys are going to be a little bit more exact. You're going to sit here and go, all right, I'm going to move this over a little bit more here so it's more perfect. You can do that. It doesn't matter to me. But now you have what your graph looks like. Now, if you really want to, you can come over here and do a curved line. You do a curved line, it's gonna you're gonna go to start here, just kind of click on each of your points like this. Come up here, and you're done. You've created another line. Okay. Again, you don't have to do that. You can for sure, but the points are what's kind of the most important thing. Okay, guys and girls, now that we've graphed quadratics in vertex form, we're going to go ahead and solve equations in vertex form. Now, this might look familiar to some of you because we have talked about this in the past. We just haven't given it a name. But in order to solve a quadratic, what we want to do is isolate the squared term. So x minus 4 squared we want to isolate. So we do that by moving everything else to the other side through order of operations. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract our 3, get it over there. We end up with x minus 4 squared equals 9. Now that it is isolated, we can take the square root of both sides. So we end up with x minus 4 equals plus or minus 3. You can't forget the plus or minus, because when you do that, you lose one of your x-intercepts. Now that we have both equations set, we solve them. So we have x minus 4 equals our positive 3, and x minus 4 equals our negative 3. We take one more step by solving. We add 4 to both sides in both equations, and we end up with x equals 7 and x equals 1. Now, in our quadratic, when we solve for x, what that represents are our x-intercepts. So if we were to graph this, that means our quadratic would cross the x-axis at 7 and 1. Talk more about that later. Moving on. 3x minus 6 squared minus 11 equals 64. Again, our goal is to isolate the x minus 6 squared. So let's start off by adding 11 to both sides. So we have 3 times x minus 6 squared equals 75. Next step is to divide by 3. So we end up with x minus 6 squared equals 25. Next step, take the square root of both sides. So we end up with x minus 6 equals plus or minus 5. Again, can't forget the plus or minus. Now we develop our two equations, and we have x minus 6 is equal to our positive 5, and x minus 6 is equal to our negative 5. We continue, we add 6 to both sides here. We get x equals 11 and x equals 1. Our two answers. Okay, I think you got it now. So the next one I'm going to do is from number 5 on the homework. And I want to show you a couple different things you can do. First of all, if on the homework you just want to type your two answers, x equals something and x equals something else, fine, whatever. I like to see work, but I understand right now these are challenging times. However, if you wanted to show work and you found it difficult to do on the drawing itself, just snap a photo of your work and then insert it into the drawing. And I'm going to show you how to do that pretty easily right now. So we're going to practice with number 5, and you'll see what I'm talking about. First of all, solving the quadratic. First step, add 3. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. So now we end up with x minus 3 squared equals 36. Now that we have our quadratic isolated, we can take the square root of both sides. So we end up with x minus 3 equals plus or minus 6. Again, now that we have our answer, we can set our two equations, and we have x minus 3 equals our positive 6, x minus 3 equals our negative 6. We're going to add 3 to both sides in each equation. So we end up with x equals 9 and x equals negative 3. There are my answers. Now, how do I upload it? Well, I'm going to snap a picture. There's my picture. You can take it with whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and upload it to my Google Drive. There's my file. I'm going to select a folder. Just throw it in a folder, any folder. I'm going to throw it into my e-learning Algebra 7 folder. Save here. What number was that? Number 5, that's right. So number 5, done. Upload. So now I'm uploading my picture. There you go. I'll finish the rest on the drawing itself. Okay, so now I'm at the drawing. You see number 5 in front of me, x minus 3 squared minus 3 equals 33. And again, like I said, if you want to just throw your answer in here and say, hey, my answer is x equals, and I honestly forget what I get, but 6 and -2. That's fine. You can do that. But we like to show work. So the other option is to come over here where it says insert image, upload from your drive. Now when I click on it, it's going to say recent. It says number 5 on there. Perfect. Double click on it, it inserts. Now the thing is, it's going to insert, it's going to be huge right here. So we just need to make it smaller. And I probably could do that a little bit easier, but I'm just going to drag and drop, and drag and drop. And now I can just drag it, since it's an image, down to where I want it. I'm probably doing this the hardest way possible, but just to show you that even the hardest way possible isn't that hard. And so now you've got your work, and I can see exactly what you have as your answers. You don't have to show your work, but it's not that hard. I took a picture, uploaded it to Drive, and now it's there. I'm not going to do this for every single one, maybe some of them, but regardless, it's not that hard to do it on paper, snap a picture, quickly upload it to your Drive, and then just kind of drag and drop it into here. Okay? But that way it's all in one place. Hopefully this has helped. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.